Hello everyone, good evening. Welcome to the session. Hello guys. Are we live? Yes. Okay. Come on everyone. Let's analyze the VARC section of the scholarship test that was conducted last Sunday, yesterday. Okay, so guys, scholarship test, मैं आपको वापस याद दिला दूँ कि this scholarship test we are conducting on a weekly basis. So it happens every Sunday. ओके एंड हेलो रेनू, गुड इवनिंग, वेलकम टू द सेशन. पहले बताओ गाइस, आपका वीकेंड कैसे था? गुड इवनिंग, गुड इवनिंग. ओके, today is an important day guys because it's the start of a new week, and secondly it's also our first class of the month of June. Okay, hello guys, welcome to the session, and that is why a lot of important announcements I'll be making, and also this is going to be a very very important session. Okay, once again guys, welcome to the session. So मैं बता रही थी scholarship test के बारे में. Okay, hi Karthik, welcome to the session. Good evening. Okay, so guys, I was just informing you about the scholarship test. तो ये scholarship test होता है every Sunday, ठीक है. और इस scholarship test में आपको हर section के 10 questions मिलते हैं. So there were 10 questions from the VARC section. There was an RC passage with about 4 questions, and there were 6 BA questions. ठीक है. एंड ऐसे ही सिमिलरली 10 क्वेश्चन से DILR सेक्शन से और 10 क्वेश्चन से क्वांटिटेटिव एप्टीट्यूड से. सो आज, दैट इज टुडे मंडे, आप देख सकते हो हमारे लाइव क्लासेस का जो शेड्यूल है उसमें आप देख सकते हो कि आज VARC का एनालिसिस होगा, उसके बाद आशीष सर करेंगे क्वांट्स का एनालिसिस ऑफ द स्कॉलरशिप टेस्ट, एंड आफ्टर दैट सुराना सर विल मीट यू फॉर द DILR analysis of the test. Okay, so it's an important test guys, please give it and we'll encourage, we'll discuss it thoroughly. So yes, silly mistakes हो रहे हैं. ओके, सी उसके लिए क्या करें, आपको मुझे थोड़ा सा और डिटेल में बताना पड़ेगा कि एग्जैक्टली किस टॉपिक में सिली मिस्टेक्स हो रहे हैं, क्या तरह के सिली मिस्टेक्स हो रहे हैं. लाइक पैरा जंबल में आप कुछ ओवरलुक कर रहे हो या कॉन्सेप्ट्स ठीक से नहीं पढ़े हो. गाइस, सिली मिस्टेक्स कैन हैपन बिकॉज ऑफ सो मेनी रीजंस, बट आई ऑनेस्टली फील कि अगर सिली मिस्टेक्स हो रहे हैं बिकॉज आप ज़्यादा टाइम नहीं दे पा रहे हो क्वेश्चंस के लिए, यू आर आंसरिंग इट टू हेस्टिली, then there could be silly mistakes. So that's why I tell you guys, first focus on accuracy. With regular practice time manage हो जाएगा और फिर आप questions limited time में कर पाओगे. पहले accuracy maintain करो, तो उसमें silly mistakes भले आपको 4 मिनट लगे पैरा जंबल के लिए 2, but first make sure that you strengthen your accuracy, you eliminate the silly mistakes. RC में silly mistakes क्यों होते हैं? क्योंकि again you read the questions very hastily, आप जल्दबाजी में questions पढ़ते हो. ओके, 2 ऑप्शन सिमिलर लग रहे हैं तो आपको 2 ऑप्शंस का डिफरेंस कंपेयर करना पड़ेगा. ओके, आई विल शो दैट टू यू टुडे एज वेल. सो 2 ऑप्शन सिमिलर लग रहे हैं आपको, तो दोनों ऑप्शन में कुछ ना कुछ अलग होगा. वो डिफरेंस फाइंड आउट करो, आरसी में वो डिफरेंस फाइंड आउट करो, गो बैक टू द पैसेज एंड चेक कि वो डिफरेंस, फॉर एग्जाम्पल एक ऑप्शन में दिया है फ्यू पीपल, एक ऑप्शन में दिया है मेनी पीपल, जस्ट एज एन एग्जाम्पल, तो डिफरेंस क्या है, फ्यू और मेनी. सो पैसेज में जाके चेक करो कि फ्यू होना चाहिए या मेनी होना चाहिए. ठीक है, आप गाइस जब भी 2 ऑप्शन सिमिलर लगते हैं, द वे टू एलिमिनेट इट इज अ 3-step प्रोसेस. व्हाट इज द 3-step प्रोसेस? द फर्स्ट स्टेप इज टू फाइंड आउट द डिफरेंस बिटवीन द 2 ऑप्शंस. द सेकेंड स्टेप इज सर्च फॉर एन ऑप्शन विच इज रेलिवेंट टू द पैसेज, एंड थर्ड इज सेलेक्ट एन ऑप्शन विच इज रेलिवेंट टू द क्वेश्चन. कई बार आपको लगता है अरे ये दोनों ऑप्शन पैसेज में दिया हुआ है, दोनों ऑप्शन पैसेज में दिया हुआ है, करेक्ट, बट विच इज द आंसर टू योर क्वेश्चन. क्वेश्चन क्या पूछ रहा है? अगर क्वेश्चन आपको पूछ रहा है एक पर्टिकुलर मीनिंग का लाइन, तो उसी मीनिंग का लाइन आपको बताना है. सी विच इज रेलिवेंट टू द क्वेश्चन, दैट्स ऑल्सो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. Yes, so Karthik, the reason is you're not solving enough critical reasoning questions. Guys, YouTube, Karthik, everyone, I'm calling YouTube क्योंकि student का नाम YouTube original है आज, but guys, you have to work on critical reasoning questions, okay, and at the same time, fine, what I'll do is I'll probably, take some more CR classes and RC classes, because I feel that is the need of the hour, and we'll eliminate all of these silly mistakes वाला चीजें. Okay. अच्छा, thank you so much. Okay. AIMT का रिजल्ट कब आएगा? ओके दैट अजय, आई विल जस्ट चेक विद द टीम एंड आई विल लेट यू नो। पर एक बार आप अपना जो आपका जो पोर्टल है उस पर एक बार चेक करते रहना, क्योंकि आज एनालिसिस क्लास है तो मतलब उससे पहले रिजल्ट्स आ जाने चाहिए, बट इफ नॉट आई विल जस्ट चेक एंड अपडेट यू। ओके, आप एक बार मेरे टेलीग्राम चैनल पे मैसेज जरूर डाल देना। ओके राइट। No, that blackie is possible not because of your 10th graduation marks, your gender. It is that those are uncontrollables. Blackie is possible now because of your controllables. अगर आपका CAT score is 99.99 percentile in all the 3 sections, overall percentile plus sectionals, then why not? So focus on the CAT percentile, guys. ओके चलो गाइस, लेट्स गेट स्टार्टेड। अभी तो कैट हुआ ही नहीं है, 6 मंथ आपने अपना प्रोफाइल बता दिया, पहले कैट दो। ओके, और उस स्कोर, द कैट स्कोर प्लस योर प्रोफाइल, देन वी कैन से वेदर इट्स पॉसिबल और नॉट, बट राइट नाउ फोकस ऑन कैट। ओके राइट गाइस, लेट्स गेट स्टार्टेड। सो VARC का एनालिसिस करते हैं। सो फर्स्ट लेट्स स्टार्ट ऑफ विथ गाइस, जितने भी लोग यहाँ पे प्रेजेंट है, डिड यू गिव द स्कॉलरशिप टेस्ट? डिड यू टेक द स्कॉलरशिप टेस्ट गाइस? हाँ या ना? डिड यू टेक द स्कॉलरशिप टेस्ट? बिकॉज अगर आपने स्कॉलरशिप टेस्ट दिया है तो हम एनालिसिस करेंगे, सिर्फ मतलब डिस्कशन करेंगे क्वेश्चंस का। अगर आपने स्कॉलरशिप टेस्ट नहीं दिया है तो मैं आपको थोड़ा सा टाइम दूंगी हर क्वेश्चन के लिए, अपार्ट फ्रॉम द RC, क्योंकि अपार्ट फ्रॉम द RC फॉर द अदर क्वेश्चंस आई विल गिव यू अ लिटिल बिट ऑफ टाइम टू गो थ्रू देम। तो बताओ, एवरीवन प्रेजेंट हियर नहीं दिया है, इट्स ओके, आई विल गिव यू द टाइम, नेक्स्ट वीक से आप दे देना। बट अभी बताओ गाइस जल्दी से, उस हिसाब से आज का हमारा सेशन का टोन सेट होगा। ओके कम ऑन। सो गाइस द फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन जो स्कॉलरशिप टेस्ट पे था VARC सेक्शन में, वो था पैराजम्बल। ओके गाइस, पैराजम्बल भले ही लास्ट ईयर नहीं आया है, ओके यस यू हैड गिवन इट, वंडरफुल। सो पैराजम्बल भले ही लास्ट ईयर नहीं आया गाइस, बट दैट डज नॉट मीन यू इग्नोर। Okay, Karthik, you've not given, fine. Scholarship test happens every Sunday. So from next time onwards, please give the scholarship test. You can win great scholarships to our courses, and at the same time, it's great learning because the analysis happens the next Monday. Okay, so first question था PJ का, भले last year नहीं आया guys, but still we have to focus on para jumbles, okay, because we can't just use CAT, मतलब एक साल का reference देखकर हम eliminate नहीं कर सकते हैं कोई topic को, we will have to practice it. Okay. So guys, this was the parajumble question. Now parajumble question में a lot of students go wrong because they don't focus on language and logic. See guys, it's always a trade-off between language and logic. Okay, I always have a method or an approach for solving parajumble questions. Please note that. First, what I do is I read the sentences and mark out the language clues. Okay, for example, over the years, this method has evolved, incorporating new techniques and technologies to improve accuracy. I understand the meaning of the statement, but mainly I mark out the language clues, like ये pronouns वगैरह, which will help us to build subsets. Radiocarbon dating, for instance means, for example, measures the decay of carbon isotopes to estimate the age of organic materials. Archaeologists rely on various dating methods to determine the age of artifacts and fossils. These advancements have significantly enhanced our understanding of historical timelines and the development of early human civilizations. So in the first reading, I understand, okay, basically what each sentence is talking about. Mainly, I mark out the language clues. Now, based on the language clues, we can clearly say that guys 3 is going to be our opener. Yes, ये opener नहीं हो सकता because this method, which method? इससे पहले एक statement आना पड़ेगा. These advancements, which advancements? इससे पहले भी एक statement आना पड़ेगा. For instance, it's an example of what? So we need another statement before it. So clearly we've got the opener here. ओके, ओपनर मिल जाए अच्छा है, ओपनर नहीं मिले, आप कंफ्यूज्ड हो ओपनर में, इट्स ओके, डोंट स्ट्रेस टू मच दैट यू हैव टू फाइंड एन ओपनर, जस्ट स्टार्ट बिल्डिंग सबसेट्स, ओके, दैट इज मोर इम्पॉर्टेंट. सो ओके, वी आर गोइंग टू स्टार्ट विथ स्टेटमेंट नंबर 3, राइट? आर्कियोलॉजिस्ट्स रिलाई ऑन वेरियस डेटिंग मेथड्स to determine the age of artifacts and fossils. So this is talking about various dating methods, okay? Next, radiocarbon dating, for instance. So this could be an example of the dating methods, है ना? Correct. Yes, YouTube original also says 3-2. After that, the next statement was 1. Over the years, this method, this means one specific method. Which is that method? Radiocarbon dating. So 3, 2, 1. Plus, 1 spoke about improving accuracy, new techniques and technologies. So that is advancements. These advancements, which advancements? The advancements referred to in 1. New techniques, new technologies to improve accuracy. So that is why the answer option to this question was 3, 2, 4, 1. Correct. So basically आपने subsets बनाया है किस basis पे? ये language clues के basis पे. This is this method. Which method? The radiocarbon dating method. So 2 and 1 is a subset. These advancements, which advancement? The new techniques and technologies. So 1 and 4 is a subset. So 2 and 1, 1 and 4. 3 was the opener. The order is ready. Okay. Yes. Yes. What is your original name? आप बता दो. I will refer to you like that. Okay. Next one, guys. So this passage was about summaries. Okay. Question is about summaries. You have to choose the right summary, or you have to choose the option which gives you the best essence of the text. Now, this passage particularly was about hedonism, okay, which is a very important word. Guys, please maintain a vocabulary diary and make a note of these words like consumerism, socialism, capitalism. ये बहुत बार repeat होता है. What is hedonism basically? Hedonism is basically pleasure seeking. Okay, a hedonist, a person who's an hedonist, he always looks for pleasure. According to him, his only goal in life is pleasure and avoiding pain. Okay, that's basically the philosophy of hedonism. Hello, Abhijit. So anyway, try out this, okay, and then we'll, discuss it. Okay, the passage is on hedonism. Okay, let's read it together. Chalo, saath mein padhte hain. The term hedonism actually refers to several theories that, while different from one another, all share the same underlying notion. Notion means belief. Pleasure and pain, there are several theories, okay, but they have the same underlying notion. What is that notion? Pleasure and pain are the only important elements of the specific phenomena the theories describe. In philosophy, hedonism is often discussed as the theory of value. This means that pleasure is the only thing which is intrinsically or naturally valuable. Hello, Abhijit. Naturally valuable to a person, and pain is the only thing that is not valuable. So pleasure is what is valuable and pain is what is not valuable. So the meaning of pleasure and pain is broad. Okay, it is broad. It can relate to both mental and physical phenomena. So it's basically talking about hedonism. It talks that there are several theories with the same underlying notion that value किससे मिलता है? Pleasure से मिलता है. और value किस चीज से नहीं मिलता है? Pain से नहीं मिलता है. And this includes mental and physical phenomena. Okay, so you've understood the paragraph. Now you just have to see which option में जो मेन पॉइंट है वो प्रेजेंट है. जैसे हेडोनिज्म होना चाहिए, प्लेजर एंड पेन होना चाहिए, ठीक है, मेंटल एंड फिजिकल एक्सपीरियंस या फिनोमिना होना चाहिए, एंड बेसिक पॉइंट्स होने चाहिए, और साथ में मीनिंग डिस्टॉर्ट नहीं होना चाहिए, मीनिंग चेंज नहीं होना चाहिए, एंड इट हैज टू बी डन थ्रू द प्रोसेस ऑफ कंपैरिजन एंड एलिमिनेशन. सो व्हेन यू रीड द फर्स्ट ऑप्शन, hedonism, a theory discussed in philosophy, focuses on pleasure and pain as the only elements of intrinsic value. Now, this option is wrong because it says pain, elements of intrinsic value. But guys, pain is not related to value. Passage में clearly दिया है कि pain is not valuable. Pain is the only thing that is not valuable. So this option is a distortion. It changes the meaning. It distorts the meaning. Yes, Renu, very good. Second one, theories of hedonism prioritize pleasure and pain as the central elements. Philosophically, hedonism asserts that pleasure is inherently valuable and pain is inherently not, covering both mental and physical aspects. Looks okay. We'll keep this on hold. Hedonism is a philosophical theory that identifies pleasure as the sole intrinsic value and pain as the sole intrinsic disvalue, applying this concept to both mental and physical experiences. Okay. It comprises several theories. All share the notion that pleasure and pain are the only two important elements. थ्योरी ऑफ वैल्यू, तो इनमें थ्योरी ऑफ वैल्यू ये वाला पॉइंट नहीं था जो इस ऑप्शन में है, तो अच्छी बात है, कुछ नया ये ऑप्शन थोड़ा सा और कंप्लीट लग रहा है. प्लेजर इज इंट्रिंसिकली वैल्यूएबल, पेन इज नॉट. Broad application to mental and physical phenomena. If you compare 2, 3 and 4, I know I'm going to sound grammatically incorrect, but 4 is more complete. उसमें और ज़्यादा points है, okay, correct भी है. Theory of value वाला point 2 और 3 में नहीं था. So by the process of comparison and elimination, our answer option will be 4. Wonderful, very good. Okay, let's go to the next one. Again, guys, this is a odd one out question. So you have to tell me which statement is not a part of the paragraph. Now, generally what students do is, and why they go wrong, they read the statements and they figure out, okay, ye statement, correct Shivam. So they just read the statements and they just focus on the fact that, ठीक है, ये statement थोड़ा सा अलग लग रहा है, बाकी सब apples के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं, ये orange के बारे में बात कर रहा है, तो ये orange वाला odd one out होगा. But if you're doing it like that, I don't think so that's the right approach, because students who were answering questions like that, 2017 and afterwards was a huge shocker to them. Okay, especially 2017, that was the year where in VRC, the question which students got the most incorrect was odd one out, because they were just following this apples and oranges approach. That will not work. You will have to build some sort of an order. Any statement which is not fitting in, which seems independent, which seems unrelated, which seems not important or inconsequential, then that would become the odd one out. So you have to try and find subsets, find a theme. Just by looking at the options, just by reading it once, do not try and figure out your odd one out. ये क्योंकि एक scholarship test था, तो थोड़ा सा easier direction में था, इसमें फिर भी आप थोड़ा apples and oranges वाला technique कर सकते हो, but that's dangerous, guys, in the examination. So even these questions, simpler looking questions also, I want you to answer through, reading it. Yes, correct, Ajay. See, CSR initiatives have become a key component of business strategy, helping companies improve their public image. Many companies are now focusing on sustainability and ethical practices as a part of their CSR efforts. CSR initiatives not only benefit the communities, but employee satisfaction and retention. These initiatives also create value for shareholders. Okay, so अगर आप देखोगे 3 and 5 basically talk about how CSR helps its stakeholders, how it helps communities, how it helps employees, and also creates value for shareholders and customers. So 3 and 5 is linked. Of course, the opener is 1 because it talks about the full form, which is corporate social responsibility and the topic. And it talks about initiatives, okay? And companies are increasingly integrating. Now, if you look at 4, on the other hand, companies are increasingly integrating diversity and inclusion practices. This topic itself is different. All the other statements are talking about CSR. Yeah, 4 is alien. It's like apples and oranges. But I'm again repeating, this being a scholarship test, because we want most of you, to, because you're starting out with your preparation to be comfortable with these topics and also to win scholarships. This was an easier side because this was introduced for the first time in our scholarship test. Slowly going forward, of course, this topic would be taken to more advanced levels. But guys, just don't read and figure out the odd one out. Please try and build subsets or an order. But correct, here 4 is the odd one out because the rest of the statements deal with CSR and its benefits. 4 talks about diversity and inclusion, which is irrelevant. Okay, wonderful. So answer option was 4. Next one, guys. Again, odd one out. Okay, odd one out question. First statement said, the human nervous system consists of complex network of nerves and is used for communication. So this talks about the human nervous system. Epigenetics is a field that examines how external factors can modify gene expression without altering the underlying DNA sequence. Okay, this is talking about epigenetics and modifying gene expression. The study of genetics has revealed that many human traits are influenced by a combination of genes and environmental factors. Again, study of genetics, genes and environmental factors. Genetic engineering allows scientists to modify an organism's genome. The Human Genome Project, Okay, foundation for further genetic research. Again, apples and oranges. If you see 2, 3, 4 and 5 are all talking about genetics and study of genetics, epigenetics, gene modification, because this also talks about modifying gene expression. Okay, this also talks about modifying an organism's genome, right? This also talks about foundation for further genetic research, right? The only statement which is not related is one, which talks about the human nervous system, and that statement also does not tell us how the human nervous system point was connected to the genetics point. So that is why your odd one out over here was 1. Okay, but again, ये basic question types है. जब आप advanced level पे जाते हो, इतना obvious error नहीं दिखता है, then you will have to build subsets. But yes, the answer option over here was 1. Okay, next one, guys. Come on, para jumble question on your screen. I'll give you 2 minutes. Try this out. Very good, Abhijit. Come on, everyone. Next question on your screen. Shivam.
Wonderful. I'm joining to your session too. That's
Great. I guess this is your second session with us. Okay, come on, everyone. Also, guys, try this out, and during the course of this session, कल हमारी एक ग्रामर क्लास है जो हमारी लास्ट क्लास होगी ग्रामर मॉड्यूल की. So during the course of this suggestion, if you want me to start with a new series, कौन से टॉपिक से आप वो सीरीज स्टार्ट करवाना चाहते हो वो भी बताना. So either I have 2 series in mind. You can tell me which one would be more suitable for you. I'll also put up a poll or a vote on our Telegram channel. So either it's going to be 100 important para jumbles, odd one out, sentence placement, para summary questions. That is 100 important, 100 questions at a stretch. We will try out over the course of 2 weeks. 100 important questions of verbal reasoning, PJ, odd one out, vagera. Or you want me to take up 100 important questions of RC and CR. So you can let me know. Do you want it to be on RC, reading comprehension, or do you want it to be on verbal reasoning? Okay, so that's going to be my next series, whatever you say. Okay, and whatever results come up high on the polls. Okay, so Renu says answer is 2, 3, 4, 1. Let's see this. This distinction, which distinction helps readers better understand the intentions behind various types of written communication. Writing can be broadly categorized into 2 types. You have expressive and informative. Then if you look at this, 3 talks about what is expressive writing, 4 talks about what is informative writing. So clearly the opening sentence will be 2. Are nahi Mudli, and yes, I'm so sorry, I forgot to put it on the group as well. But yeah, our session tha, and we were discussing the scholarship test जो संडे को हुई थी. ओके, आप एक बार ग्रुप पे डाल दो. आई एम सो सॉरी, आई फॉरगॉट टू पुट इट, ताकि जो लोग ज्वाइन करना चाहे वो लोग ज्वाइन कर सके. So writing can be broadly categorized into 2 types. Now see guys, because expressive is mentioned first, so first we will talk about expressive writing. Informative is mentioned next, so then we will talk about informative writing. And after comparing the two, then this distinction between expressive writing and informative writing. Correct. The answer is 2, 3, 4, 1. This type of a PJ is a comparative essay type. Comparative essay type में the opener starts by mentioning what is being compared. Then we discuss the relative disadvantages, merits, demerits, features according to the order of the opening sentence. So opening sentence में पहले expressive है तो पहले expressive आएगा, फिर informative है इसीलिए बाद में informative आता है. Then we reach a conclusion. So correct. Your answer option is 2, 3, 4, 1, and this is a classic example of a comparative essay type of para jumble. Okay. Right. Next one. Okay, so guys, before we come to the RC, let's take up the one last pending VA question. So एक और VA question pending है summary पे, essence of the text पे. तो पहले इसको try करते हैं, फिर RC पे चलते हैं. Come on guys, next VA question on your screen. Come on, guys. Come on, everyone. Acha, good, Shivam. And thank you for the suggestion. I'll also, have a look at it. And if it is, as you say it is, matlab, of course, aapka experience hai, I'll also start referring it to the students. Because all of these books, like Norman Lewis Made Easy, Word Power Made Easy, and Instant Vocabulary, फिर शशि थरूर की बुक है Around the World in 80 Words, वो सारे अच्छे books है. And I'll add this to the anthology as well. Okay, come on guys, let's read this. The world of classical music, often perceived as a monolithic and rigid tradition. Monolithic means like single stone, rigid. Is in fact a remarkably diverse and evolving landscape. Its complexity stems not just from its intricate harmonic and contrapuntual structure, so this is related to music, but also from the profound or deep interplay of historical context, performance practice, and subjective interpretation. A single score, unchanged for centuries, can yield vastly different emotional and intellectual experiences depending upon the era of the composition, the specific instruments used, the performer's artistic choices, and even the cultural lens of the audience. To truly appreciate classical music, one must navigate this multi-layered reality, recognizing that its beauty lies as much in its historical fluidity, because it's very fluid over generations and over eras, and interpretive freedom as in its written notation. First one, classical music is a rigid and unchanging art form whose appreciation requires extensive historical knowledge. Now guys, they've not said that you require historical knowledge, plus ये बोल रहा है कि it is rigid, but guys the author says it's often perceived as rigid, मतलब लगता है कि rigid है, पर actually author बोल रहा है कि rigid नहीं है, because he mentions the word fluid, so he says there is fluidity, पर ऐसे लगता है कि rigid है, तो option 1 गलत है. 2. The perceived complexity of classical music is largely due to its ancient origins and the use of outdated instruments. Now see guys, अगर आप देखोगे तो यहाँ पे बोला गया है the specific instruments used. They have nowhere mentioned that those instruments are outdated. Correct. So 2 चला जाएगा. Classical music is a dynamic and multifaceted art form whose richness derives from the interplay of historical context, performance, interpretation, rather than just its fixed notation. So लोग सोचते हैं कि fixed है, rigid है, पर ऐसे नहीं है. Dynamic है, multifaceted है, richness है, because the author is clearly in favor of classical music. It requires formal training. Wrong. It does not require formal training. It just requires understanding or appreciation. So answer option clearly over here is 3. So guys, para summary questions में ऐसे ही होता है कि हम हम सोचते हैं कि कि एक पर्टिकुलर आंसर मतलब पैरा थोड़ा टफ है, पैरा थोड़ा डेंस है, वोकैबुलरी थोड़ा कॉम्प्लिकेटेड है, पर एक्चुअली ऑप्शंस काफ़ी आपको हेल्प करते हैं. So we should rely on the options a lot more, because थोड़ा सा easy होते हैं eliminate होना का. You just have to go and check which one is mentioned in the or justified by the passage, and once you get the author's tone, whether it's positive or negative, at least 1 or 2 options can anyway be easily eliminated. Now let's come to the RC. Now this is the elephant in the room this time for the scholarship test, because इस time का जो RC आया था test में वो काफ़ी आपने गलत मतलब आपको गलत आए. किस में मुरली? पैरा समरी में. अच्छा आपने एक दो भेजे भी है ना ग्रुप पे, आई विल हैव अ लुक। तो गाइस दिस टाइम द स्कॉलरशिप टेस्ट में जो आरसी था वो बहुत लेंदी था। अगर आप देखोगे यहाँ पे भी इट्स कमिंग अप टू 4 स्लाइड्स, 4 नहीं 5 स्लाइड्स। तो इट वाज अ वेरी लेंदी आरसी अबाउट मोर देन अराउंड 800 वर्ड्स, उससे थोड़ा सा ज्यादा ही होगा, उतना आरसी था। बट बहुत रेपिटेटिव था। There were like so many words and so many points which were repetitive, and you should have easily been able to skim and scan through it. So that's why skimming and scanning was very, very important. Okay, Murli, we'll have a look at those questions. So skimming and scanning was very important. So what I've done is, I've basically highlighted in red the important points, like from every para, उतना ही important था, और उसमें भी थोड़ा सा repetition ही है, पर उतना ही important था. And if you knew this, you could have easily solved the questions. Okay. Sumant, in what? Like you're talking about the length for the scholarship test. So it was, yeah. So एक बार passage को पढ़ते हैं. I'll just tell you the main points from each paragraph and then we'll move on to the questions. So guys, इसमें skimming and scanning technique was very important. You have to avoid repetition and you have to focus. Like I've heard a lot of students and watch videos and content जहाँ पे बोला गया था कि examples ignore करो. Okay. But if you look at this particular passage and the questions that followed, there were a lot of questions on examples. So I always tell my students, guys, actually focus on examples because they give you that one question wherein they ask you, why has the author used this example? Okay, so Shivam, logical comprehension passage, मतलब आप reading comprehension का बात कर रहे हो या critical reasoning की बात कर रहे हो? फ्रेजल वर्ब्स के लिए सी इट्स यू जितना प्रैक्टिस करोगे उतना फ्रेजल वर्ब्स रजिस्टर होता जाएगा. देयर इज आल्सो ऑक्सफोर्ड की एक पॉकेट बुक आती है, एक बहुत छोटी सी बुक है, मतलब इतनी सी छोटी सी पॉकेट डिक्शनरी आती है on idioms and phrasal verbs. I always recommend that to my students because आपके पास 6 महीने हैं, अगर आप हर महीने 1-2 पेजेस या 2-3 पेजेस उसे करोगे तो भी आपको बहुत बेनिफिट करेगा. So it's ऑक्सफोर्ड का ही एक पॉकेट डिक्शनरी आता है on idioms and phrasal verbs and that's very handy. So if you can get that would be very good. Okay. Okay, right. Let's go through this. So guys, this passage was basically about 19th century Europe, the Victorian England specifically, जहाँ पे बात की गई है कि बहुत it's basically about the paradox. What was the paradox? That there was rapid industrialization. मतलब चीजें बहुत बढ़ रही थी, growth apparently बहुत हो रहा था. हाँ, so rapid industrialization की बात हो रही है. But that rapid industrialization has led to a lot of class disparity or inequality and a lot of injustices. So the paradox was एक side पे progress but दूसरे side पे suffering. And the main character of this entire passage was Charles Dickens, the author, a great author, one of my favorite authors, guys. अभी नहीं, cat होने दो, बाद में आप जब कभी reading करना चाहोगे, so please read his novels. Jane Austen, Charles Dickens. Like I'm a huge fan of classics. Like, the classic English books and it's beautiful. So I was really happy actually seeing this passage because, when you find a familiar topic, the reading becomes really easier. So that will help you with selection of passages also. So this talks about Charles Dickens and how his novels, highlighted this kind of paradox. So Dickens के बारे में बात किया गया है कि has acute observational skills, unparalleled gift for characterization, उसके characters मतलब they have beautiful characters, passionate moral indignation. Indignation is an important word. Indignation means angry at unfair treatment. अगर आप कुछ गलत देखते हो तो आप आवाज उठाते हो. And that's what Charles Dickens did through his novels. जहाँ पे भी उसको गलत दिख रहा था, so he was like a social reformer. In a way. So जो चीजें गलत थी in his novels, he highlighted that. Okay. And he exposed a lot of the absurdities and cruelties of the prevailing social, legal and economic systems. फिर बात की गई है कि ये फैक्ट्रीज के कारण और एक्सपेंशन ऑफ सिटीज के कारण वेल्थ अक्यूमुलेशन हो गया ओनली इन द हैंड्स ऑफ अ फ्यू. मतलब कुछ ही लोगों के हाथ में सत्ता आ गई, जिसके कारण देयर वाज अनइमेजिनेबल स्क्वॉलर and dehumanization for the working masses. मतलब the conditions in which they were living were like slum-like conditions, very pitiful conditions. Human भी नहीं बोल सकते हैं हम उसको. So dehumanization of the working masses, and then he gives examples. जैसे उनका एक book quoted है पूरा का पूरा यहाँ पे. You don't have to really read it. You can just know why has he mentioned this book to talk about the dehumanization of the working masses. Then he talks about champion the cause of the vulnerable or the weak, particularly children. If you've read Oliver Twist, if you've read Great Expectations, and children especially जो neglect हो रहे थे, उनके दर्द को he has highlighted a lot. And he gives the example of Oliver Twist, जहाँ पे एक बच्चा गया and he wanted to ask for more. He said, please sir, I want some more. He asked for more food. And this kind of highlighted the desperation and punitive poor laws. Punitive matlab it was like punishing people, the laws. Yeah, The Diary of a Young Girl is another beautiful novel, and it's so sad. The minute you realize the conditions in which she had written it and the conditions in which she and her family were staying, completely matlab chupke, hidden and all of that, it shakes you to the core. Okay. Then it again gives example of flawed legal system and again talks about a case, okay, how people have died in despair. Again, social hypocrisy, again, towards education. Again, education was only facts, ratamana, rigid adherence to facts. Again, dehumanizing approach prevalent in education. So again and again through his different themes, he is highlighting the dehumanization of the working masses. Then he again talks about, he was very skeptical or doubtful towards grand abstract ideologies that promised order but delivered chaos. Like legal system, education system was meant to promise order, was meant to improve the situation, but it led to a lot of suffering and chaos, especially for the poor. And then again the author talks about the fact that Charles Dickens was more than a novelist. He was actually a social reformer through his books, and he put up the cause for the downtrodden or the poor, and unparalleled historian of his time because his books were very accurate in terms of their historical data. कोई नहीं बोल सकता कि he is writing गलत information. And power of storytelling to shed light on societal truths and advocate for a more humane world, because the entire passage he gives you a lot of examples of how Charles Dickens highlighted the dehumanization of the world. So if you had just focused on these lines, the reading of the passage would have just become shorter. So try and avoid a lot of repetition, guys. That was the key here. Okay, now let's discuss the questions that followed. Now, the passage's primary purpose. ठीक है, आपको क्या लगता है जितना हमने डिस्कस किया है उसके मुताबिक what is the passage's primary purpose? Come on, what do you think? I've shown you the highlights of the passage. According to that, what do you think? What is the passage's primary purpose? Is it to advocate for the study of English literature? Analyze how Charles Dickens' work served as a critical social historical record of Victorian England? Detail the biographical influences that led Charles Dickens to become a social reformer? Compare Dickens' portrayal with that of European writers. Now, कहीं पे भी comparison नहीं है, right? Nowhere he talks about the study कि literature पढ़ो, right? Nowhere he mentions कि उनको Charles Dickens को किन लोगों ने influence किया. No, it's basically about to talk about Charles Dickens and how it was a socio-historical record of the times, of उन times पे मतलब कैसे चल रहा था situation. Correct. The answer option over here will be 2. It's basically a socio-historical, important socio-historical record. Okay. Next one. Based on the descriptions of Coketown and Jarndyce's suit, a common criticism that Dickens implicitly levels, implicitly matlab in an indirect way, like we can assume it. what is the common criticism that he levels against the Victorian era systems? See guys, जब भी कोई specific example दिया गया है, please make sure you go and check कैसे दिया है. So Coketown का example में वो क्या बता रहा है? It stands as a stark, indelible. Indelible is something that you cannot erase. Symbol of dehumanizing progress. A progress which has led to or unhumane conditions. Same with jaundice and jaundice also. He basically talks about the flawed legal system and how people have died in despair. Right, so अगर हम देखेंगे, so through both of these books, or through both of these examples, the author basically talks about the dehumanization. So answer option for this question was 3. Rigid self-perpetuating mechanisms, be it the legal system, dehumanized individuals despite their stated purposes. They were meant to secure people, they were meant to bring about order, but what they brought instead was complete chaos and dehumane conditions. Primarily benefited a privileged elite at the expense of the working class. This is also true, but for the overall passage. This example mainly was focusing on the dehumanized conditions. So answer option over here was 2. Okay, next one. The author's inclusion of Oliver Twist's iconic line, "Please sir, I want some more," primarily serves to. What was the primary purpose of mentioning the example of Oliver Twist? Again, it was basically talk about to the dehumanizing condition and the profound desperation. So again guys, the answer option here is 3. It was not to talk about the nutritional standards or revolutionary spirits or contrasting example of romanticized depictions. No, he was asking for food and ये भी directly दिया है यहाँ पे. आप यहाँ पे देखोगे, again, inhumane conditions, failing of a system, abject desperation. So this was also to highlight the desperation. So again, the answer option over here was 3, profound desperation. Okay, the last question guys. Pervasive commonality found across Dickens' diverse artistic expressions. Now you'll be able to understand this if you've given the test guys. If you've not, please once ek baar, because I've just told you the highlights, but you would have to read the rest of the RC passage as well. So it's not a celebration. The passage is not a celebration of the Victorian progress. The author is definitely not advocating rigid fact-based education. वो तो उसका मजाक बोल रहा है कि वो गलत है. A deep-seated disillusionment with institutional power and a call for revolutionary societal change. A key awareness of humanity's vulnerability or weakness and questioning of the ideologies that fail to deliver on the promise. So this is the main point, because सारे examples में बोलता है कि education system, legal system which was meant to protect has actually failed and it has led to the dehuman conditions. So answer option was 4. Okay guys, so this brings us to the end of the analysis. Next week I want all of you to make sure guys that you write the scholarship test. Do give your feedback on the group as to which series you want me to start off next after grammar, because tomorrow is our last class for grammar. Please make sure that you enroll in the batches guys. Target IIM batch hai, plus and pro versions hai. Call up this number if you have any doubts and don't forget to apply the code CORE MBA. Okay, thank you so much for watching everyone, and I will see you all tomorrow with our class on phrasal verbs and modifiers. Okay, thank you so much guys. Thank you so much for joining. Have a great rest of the day. Thank you so much guys.